Good day, Columbus, everyone. We are talking about a really, what I think is fascinating program.
Was
here
Justin
in
Bieber
Ohio.
breastfed, do you know?
I have no idea. He's so darn cute, I think that would be yes. Whatever that has to do with anything. It's a program, a milk bank program that you may not have heard of, and we want to introduce you to a couple of people. Number one, Fran Feehan, who is the director of the Mother's Milk Bank of Ohio. We've also got Gina. Gina, raise your hand. Gina Nordstrom, who is a milk donor, and Jessica Potts, who is the mother of twin boys who used this bank. A couple of personal stories to introduce you to something you may not have heard of. So, Fran, let me start with you. What is this milk bank about? And it's fascinating that we have one of 10 in the nation here in Columbus.
The Mother's Milk Bank of Ohio is a wonderful little place. It's part of Grant Medical Center, which is part of Ohio Health. And it is a donor milk bank where we collect donated breast milk, obviously, and we screen the moms to make sure everybody's healthy and the milk's going to be good for the babies. We pasteurize it. We test it again to make sure there's nothing bad left in it, and we check the nutritional content, and then we freeze it, and then we send it out to recipient hospitals all over the country, some in Canada also, and then it goes to the preemies and the very sick babies in their special care nurseries and NICUs.
That was, of course, going to be my next question, but maybe I'll ask Jessica to tell us a bit of your personal story, because there are people who are going to say gross, or men who are watching who don't get the whole, you know, breastfeeding thing to begin with, but you are somebody who really benefited your boys from this service. Tell us, and tell us about your boys.
Yeah, I really didn't understand just the importance of breast milk, especially in preemies, because my two boys were born with twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, which they developed in utero. So not only were they born at 34 weeks and 5 days, they were born sick. So the important thing of them being able to have breast milk, because mine, you know, mother's milk doesn't come in until 3 to 4 days after they have a baby.
Right.
And they needed it now.
They needed it now, yeah.
Okay.
Because
who is this?
This is Dempsey.
Hi, Dempsey. Oh, this has got to be a little hard for you to watch.
No, it's, you know what, they're healthy now.
Great.
Yeah.
They're, I mean, they're healthy and strong. They've already rolled over, and they're only 2.5 months old now.
Okay.
But the breast milk helped their bodies heal without having to concentrate on the digestion, which, you know, which is really important to preemies, because breast milk is so easily digested and easily absorbmed.
Oh, these are Halloween babies.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because when you obviously, after you have a baby, you're going through this emotional mess as well. And they say to you, look, we think these babies need breast milk. Of course, you're going to do whatever you need to do to save your children. But when you knew it was donated breast milk at first, what was your thought?
At first, to be honest, I had never heard of it before, and using somebody else's milk to me was like, I'm not so sure about it, but with when the doctors laid it out to me, listen, they need this to get well, because the antibodies and all the nutrients that are in it, the whole ick factor doesn't exist for me anymore.
And that is the truth. There's an ick factor for people who don't get it. So, you know, how do, I guess you've donated though, correct?
Yeah, I mean, Gina, how did you get involved with the program? Do you have babies, or
I do. I actually have twins also. I have a boy and a girl twin. They're 6 months old. And I just tend to produce a lot of breast milk. And I was talking to a nurse practitioner at Children's Hospital who was telling me all the benefits and how lucky I was to have milk for my own twins, let alone be able to donate. And so right there, you know, saying that it was just as equally as important as blood in the hospital, I said, well, sign me up. What do I do? Because I have it.
So how does it work if we have any moms who do have an extra supply? I'll say I was the exact opposite. I couldn't produce anything. So I think it really is to some extent a gift.
It is.
What do you have to do?
It was super easy. She said just, you know, go on the website. So, you know, I clicked on the website, called the number. I talked to a lady named Diane, who I believe is the head of the milk bank down there. Well, actually, I left a message, you know, kind of a strange message.
I want to hear that conversation. Hello, this is Gina. I have a lot of breast milk.
It's Diane's job. She's used to that.
I said, I've never left a message like this before, but here we go. She called me back within a few hours, and I work in healthcare, so one of my coworkers came running like, they're on the phone. You know, so I did a phone interview right there. She said, you have time? I said, sure, I have 5 minutes. Did a phone interview, super easy. She said, all right, well, let me fax you some papers. Fax me the papers. Just like anything anymore, you go to the hospital or the doctors, you have to fill out 10 forms. It's the same thing.
Is that a big time commitment?
That's what I was going to ask. How much time of your day did that take? No?
Like 5 minutes just to fill out the form.
And so do you do this?
Oh, yeah. You know, it's become so routine. I get up in the morning, I pump. I leave some for my children and save the rest. In the beginning, my babies were only taking about 20 ounces, but I was pumping like 55 ounces, so I had half of it left over. So we actually, our deep freezer was full of breast milk.
I love that.
And a shout out to my friends who saved it during the electrical storm because we were on vacation, and so they came and actually plugged it into my neighbor's generator. So
I have a good friend who did that too with the storm. It was the
it's the first thing I thought of, not my meat, my fish.
It was
my
your breast milk.
Yeah.
So Fran, tell us, we've heard a little bit about what babies use this milk, but can you tell us a little more, kind of tug at our hearts in terms of the need?
This is one of those causes that's very easy to get behind, because like Jessica described, her twins are a perfect example of what happens. And it doesn't always have to be twins. It's any baby who's born premature, any baby who's born sick. A lot of times what happens, unfortunately, and this was the case with Jessica also, if the babies are born sick or premature, sometimes the mom has difficulty producing her milk, or at least getting started. And that's when it's so important to have the donor milk, either to get the baby started or to give the mom that bridge time that she needs until her supply comes in. Unfortunately, for some moms, their supply never comes in. But it's those very initial early days and weeks when it's so important to have the donor milk.
We don't have a lot of time, but I want to ask, is there a difference between breast milks? Do certain women make different kinds of breast milk?
There is, and it's very fascinating, and it's one of the wonderful things about the human body. A mom, it will vary in fat content, it will vary in protein content, and it will vary in overall calories. Some moms are super producers, not only in volume, but in the quality of the milk. They're very high calorie, very high protein. And what happens is the body changes the nutritional content of the milk as the baby gets older. So very early on, it's more important to have all the fat and the calories. Later on, it's not so important. So you'll see the moms, the nutrition content vary.
Well, thank you so much for having the discussion with us. And bottom line, you know, it's certainly a resource, something unique to Central Ohio. Again, one of 10 in the country, and the supply rather low.
Exactly. So if you need help or you want to donate,
absolutely,
we'll put the link.
We're going to link you to the Mother's Milk Bank website. Just go to myfox28columbus.com, click on news links, and thanks to Gina and Jessica for sharing your stories. Fran, too, for being with us. Good to see you all.